We now honor Ben Hudson.
Few people have had as long and varied a career in the American quarter horse racing industry as Ben Hudson. A familiar face who shows up pretty much anywhere and everywhere that the fastest horses on earth are running, Benny Lewis Hudson purchased his first American quarter horse as a teenager growing up in the 50s. Since then, he has served many parts of the industry, most prominently as the publisher and editor of Track magazine, but also as a breeder and owner of racehorses. He has also been a part-time bloodstock agent who has been involved with some of the most prominent racing quarter horses of the past 40 years. Ben was born in Sherman, Texas, and while growing up, moved with his family to several other towns in the Lone Star State before ending up in Fort Worth. A part-time job at a print shop there led to Ben's interest in newspapers and eventually a journalism scholarship to Texas Christian University. After earning his degree, he spent 4 years in the Navy and planned to go to law school after his discharge. But while waiting for the next semester, a chance meeting with Benny Scott led to a job with Scott's magazine, The Quarter Racing Record. I started going to the races, saw the horses, met the horsemen, the trainers, and owners and jockeys, and just fell in love with the whole deal, he said. I never left. Ben worked for the Record from 1971 until 1975 when he and Jerry McAdams left to begin Track magazine. Now the sole owner of the oldest and largest independently owned publication serving what he calls the running quarter horse business, Ben since 1972 has attended every running of the All-American Futurity and still spends much of his time on the road attending major races and events throughout the nation. In the late 70s, Ben became a member of the AQHA Racing Committee and was instrumental in the formation of the association's Racing Council. In 1987, he became an AQHA director and in 2001 was elected to the Racing Council. Ben also has served on the American Quarter Horse Foundation Council, chaired the Nominations and Credentials Committee, and served on the Hall of Fame Selection Committee. He never misses an AQHA convention and is currently a director-at-large serving on the AQHA Nominations and Credentials Committee. A life member and past president of the Texas Quarter Horse Association, Ben also has served on the board of the Oklahoma Quarter Horse Racing and the Florida Quarter Horse Racing Associations. Ben was a driving force in getting parimutuel racing in Texas and was a founding partner in Lone Star Park at Grand Prairie. A former director of the Racetrack Chaplaincy of America, Ben was inducted into the Texas Horse Racing Hall of Fame in 2004, 2 years after he received the AQHA Racing Council Gordon Crone Achievement Award. He and his wife Christine live on their quarter horse farm at Morgan Mill, Texas, from where the couple base their quarter horse track publisher, Inc. Raising only 3 or 4 babies a year, their program ranked among the nation's top 15 breeders in 2015. In 2013, the year he turned 70, Ben received the AQHA Racing Council Special Recognition Award, which honors a lifetime of outstanding service and dedication to the development, promotion, and enhancement of American quarter horse racing. It's pretty incredible when you're awarded something for just doing your job and having the best job there is in racing, he says. The horses I've gotten to see and record their achievements, the people that I've become friends with, and to get paid to do what I've done for all these years is absolutely incredible. We are much blessed. Now, he takes the highest honor as a member of the American Quarter Horse Hall of Fame.
Well deserved, ladies and gentlemen. Let's welcome Ben Hudson. Congratulations.
We've got bodyguards if that becomes a problem. What a deal. You know, it's pretty amazing. And, you know, as a journalist, I've always kind of looked for you know, little odd things and all, and it was, golly, 1964, I guess. I happened to go over to Paul Kirtner's house one night. One of my roommates or buddies at TCU, Gary Turner, knew Paul's youngest daughter, Nita Jo, who's here tonight. I can't see her, but she's out there somewhere. And we went up to Jacksboro, and I can remember meeting Mr. Kirtner. And I was a kid, 20, 21 years old. And I remember going in the den to that house out there just a couple of blocks west of the square in Jacksboro, and which was just, an hour away from TCU. And walking around in the den in that house, and it was it was a pretty good sized room, and there must have been 150 of those really neat old trophies that the AQHA used to give out. And just thinking about Mr. Kirtner and all those trophies, and what a deal it is that 50 odd years later, Paul Kirtner and I, in a matter of a few minutes, would be inducted into the AQHA Hall of Fame. That's quite a deal. It was over 100 years ago when my parents, when they were children, came to Texas in horse-drawn wagons and crossed the Red River. They raised 4 boys. I'm the third of the deal. My brother Tom's here with us tonight. And I am so glad that God gave us those parents who would give us the direction to do what we did. I thank God for showing me and my brothers the way to navigate around the roadblocks and make the detours that we made to get to where we are today. He put the right people in the right places at the right time to help us get to where we are today. In the nearly 50 years that I've been fooling around with these quarter horses, I've had the pleasure of waking up every morning somewhere and my telephone would ring, a lot of times 5 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock, and some guy like Blaine Swanevelt or Jay Pumphrey, Jay would call at night, he would never call in the morning, or Charlie Graham, or B.F. Phillips, or Jerry Rudisil, or Scoop Vessels, or Lanham Riley, or Mike Carter, or Glenn Blodgett, or Butch Wise, or Frank Merrill, or Jim Helzer, or Joe Turner, or Johnny Trotter would be on the other end of that telephone. And we'd talk about horses and kids and wives and mamas and daddies and politics and everything else. And those guys have done so much to shape not only my life and my family, but the American Quarter Horse and the American Quarter Horse Association. And I am so grateful for those friendships. In the 42 years that Track Magazine has been in business, we've had some great employees and some guys that went ahead and did other things in the horse business. And I'm blessed the crew we got now, and there's a half a dozen of us, and I don't think any of them has worked for us for less than 10 years. And Mark Heron, who's here tonight, has worked with us for 3 decades and is still here and is as good a guy and as good a friend as I could have. The rest of them, they would jump in front of a truck for this business and for us. One of the best things that's happened to me in my lifetime came about, many of the best things came about because of the AQHA, but up at the convention in Seattle, Dan Fick got me involved with the racetrack chaplaincy. It's a neat deal. If you're ever around a racetrack on a Sunday morning, go to the church. It's a neat deal. If you're ever at an AQHA convention, go to the Sunday morning service. We were there this morning, and the chaplain, who used to be the chaplain at Sam Houston and is now at Turf Paradise in Phoenix and at Denver, he gave a tremendous sermon this morning and blessed the AQHA and asked for guidance and prayed with Craig and over Craig, and it's a neat deal. It really is. I've got 30 people here tonight, and I'm not going to do like Clarence Scarver did one time. Clarence could talk. I don't know if any of y'all remember that or not, but Clarence could really talk, and I think Dr. Blodgett was there, and I'm sure he was a victim of the same deal just like I was. But Texas Tech, the Ranching Heritage Association in Lubbock, every year gives a deal they call the Golden Spur Award. And they gave it to Clarence. It was after Ali Sheba had won the Triple Crown and all, and not the Triple Crown, but the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness, and nearly won the Belmont and all. Well, they gave Clarence that award, and that big old gym there, I don't know how many people it hold, but it was full. And Clarence invited about 300 of his closest friends, of which he included me. And he got up and he made those people listen to about 3 hours of Clarence talking about 300 of his closest friends. And I'm not going to do that tonight, but I've got about 30 people here, and I got my kids and Christine's kids, and they're really our kids. And I've got golly, Dr. Graham, who's running ad in every track magazine there was. He always tells everybody he pays the light bill. He doesn't realize the light bill's gone up since 1975 when he started, but he pays part of the light bill. And Patty Colbert, who's meant so much to us, and my friend Ted from high school, and we bought our first $100 horses together and all that stuff, and been through everything, and you know, and a whole bunch more. And Christine and I have we got married 20 years ago this year. That's after that I met her because of these quarter horse deals. She was living at Lake Tahoe in the early 1990s, and she came to Fort Worth to cut an horse deal, and I met her over there. And just to show you how good a salesman I am and how I was always able to sell those ads in Track Magazine, I convinced Christine that Fort Worth was prettier than Lake Tahoe, and got her to move down there. You know, and that's been one of the best things, probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. And she means so much to me and is so important in our program. And she's already foaled out 7 mares and produced 3 issues of Track Magazine this year, and now she's trying to get those mares rebred. She was lucky enough, we were lucky enough, that a colt that we bred ran second in the All-American this past year, and that's been a whole lot of fun, and we've got some good ones on the ground already and all. And one deal that probably none of y'all had expected was that sign probably on the front of this deal. and another thing, I have, people have asked me forever when I'm going to quit doing this deal, and I am going to quit doing it. And I am announcing tonight my retirement. And I'm going to quit as soon as we win the All-American for Charity 3 years in a row.